is a fifth dimension beyond what is known to man. A dimension of sight. A dimension of mind. You've just crossed over into the box score zone.
You got your timer?
Yeah, I got it.
What's the matter?
I don't know. I just don't know when you're joking and when you're not. I don't know. I just, maybe I take it too personally.
Just get in the box, all right?
Every time I try to do something and then, I try to make a funny joke or I mock headlines or, I'm booking all these guests and then all I hear is, all this stuff I'm not doing. And then, it just gets tiring for, all these years. And, Todd, I thought we had a great relationship. And then, I always have stomach issues and it's just after a while, I can't take it.
Mr. Dan Patrick, host of a well-listened-to radio show, has just transformed into the exact thing he has never wanted to become. A person who uses the confinements of this box to vent about things that do not matter. And on a day not dissimilar to this one, on a channel very similar to the one you're currently watching, the box score starts now.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple: C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Power College for box score.
Hello and welcome to the box score. I'm Brock in Los Angeles, joined by the Danettes in the Milford Man Cave. We have a genuine whodunit brewing out there in Milford. The Bob Knight doll lay in ruins today with its head all JFK'd back into the left. Paulie, I know the I-team is on this. Do we have a lead suspect?
Absolutely not. Sometimes things just fall. It's like, remember what Bender said to the vice principal in...
The world's an imperfect place.
Things fall out, screws fall out, the world's an imperfect place. When I left yesterday, I'm being told that it happened as I closed the door. Maybe the power with which I closed the door knocked it over. If it is, I'll take responsibility.
Sort of the magic door theory at this point.
Could be, because actually when you close that door, there is kind of a whooshing thing that happens, and the whole room gets kind of a whoosh of air. So it's very possible.
So if that was the case, do we consider that you did it?
That'd be fine, because I'm the guy who's going to replace it, so wouldn't bother me that much. Also, the funny thing is, I'm the biggest Bob Knight fan in the entire room. Yeah. And when I saw it today, in all seriousness, I was upset for maybe 4 seconds. I was like, that sucks, man. Because it's a really
awesome.
cool, and then I was like, what can I do with this?
Right. Yeah.
And I went to work.
I felt bad for the woman that comes in to help tidy up the place. She got all nervous and everything that she was going to get fired, or that she got in trouble, that she knocked it over. But thankfully for her, not that
if she did that on purpose, I'll give her producer credit.
Yeah, she was all the way by the bar, nowhere near where that when we heard the thud of that breaking.
Shocker, Fritzi said.
Shocking. Well, it wasn't long
watching
before
her do her work.
Yeah, it wasn't long before the boss started pointing his
precise
finger
location.
at you guys. Of course, you pointed your fingers directly into the afterlife.
You know this place is haunted, right? So anything can happen.
I blame Jeff. That's the ghost.
His name is Jeff?
Jeff.
Wait, you guys have a name for the ghost in here?
Because he was once a person.
Jeff was once a person who occupied this area. And legend has it, passed somewhere right in that back room.
He died?
In this studio, in this room.
Wait, Jeff died?
Yeah, he was a backpacker who was passing through the town and died in where the green room is now. This is a real story we just found out.
True story. I-team.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah, Paul.
With all the junk that's been there, I'm surprised his corpse isn't back there still.
That's pretty spooky. I was not aware that there was someone named Jeff that passed away at our studios. We've all slept here a few times, and just the thought that there's some kind of apparition that's walking around or floating around these studios is pretty frightening. And then we were getting more details, and I found that very fascinating, that it was a backpacker, some kind of transient that found his way somehow up into the
Transient's got a negative connotation.
A little bit. But
hobo.
Hobo, yeah.
Miscreant.
And apparently died
that's upsetting.
by his own hand. Is that
really?
We're allowed to talk about that.
I don't know if we're allowed to say that.
Oh, you just did.
Well,
Yeah, that's very, very troubling, and it makes you kind of look around at your surroundings a little bit more with a questioning eye.
Broccoli, I gotta tell you, when we first saw this place was disgusting. There was dirt, guts, everything. There was a refrigerator that I was literally scared to open. I saw it, it was just crusted, and so for all we know, he was in there. But yeah, it was a pretty scary place when we first took it over.
Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff could have been in there. Hey, McLovin, has anyone gone out and purchased a Ouija board and maybe got in touch with the Long Island medium to straighten this out?
Not on my watch.
Yeah.
I do not like discussing ghosts. I don't even like the way the day went. Some people were joking. I don't think that Jeff knocked down Bobby Knight, but I definitely have gotten weird vibes in this place.
I mean this in all seriousness, okay? And I'll say it when we're off the air again. I don't want anyone bringing a Ouija board in.
No.
Seriously.
No, we don't need that.
I don't want that.
Okay, I'm fascinated about it.
I'm not into that kind of crap
I
at all.
I don't want anyone looking at
No way.
Okay.
Don't bring a Ouija board in here. You can bring in the Long Island
cards
medium
and
if you
all that,
want.
reading your
Don't
palms,
do
all
this
that.
thing.
Brock, if you'll allow me 1 second.
Sure.
I want to ask a question. No shtick, no BS, no produced answers. Who believes in ghosts?
I do.
I do too. I wish I did.
The real ghosts.
Yeah, I
Think about it
believe
this way, right? Here, this is the way that I always look at it, okay? You know how dogs can hear things that we can't hear, and like other animals can see things that we can't see? Why would we then not think that there are other things around here that we're not in tune with?
Okay.
Boom. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, it's like that.
It's one of the few things I don't obsess about, but I do believe that there's.
Don't do it. I don't want Ouija boards.
There are things among us that we can't see that are.
I'm gonna go to
just sitting next to
OSHA
us, right?
over it or
Fritzi,
something.
everything must be a ghost because you don't notice anything around you.
It doesn't even bother you at all. Like, you don't really seem
No,
scared.
I have so many other
Ghostly
obsessive
apparitions. No, those are
compulsive
coworkers.
things that I have to deal with. I don't have time to actually.
So
You
you're
mean
not just
real life
completely-
things? Yeah.
You're completely paralyzed and fearful of reality and real things and things that aren't even there.
I'm able to ignore the invisible.
Sounds like, you don't even have time to get to the ghost. You're so afraid of, like, everyday
I'm
things.
like, we don't have a guest for tomorrow. I can't really be worried about this apparition that's tapping me on
Fun
the
way to
shoulder. I
live.
just kind of ignore that.
Hey, Paulie, if it was Jeff, does that earn him a spot as the 5th Danette?
Oh, coming back from the dead is overrated. We've done a lot of great things on this show, and so far Jeff is really, if he is for real, if there is a ghost, he's done very little from a producer standpoint.
Which, by the way, Jeff, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's okay. I know you've shown
I don't
yourself
wanna
a
get
little bit.
creepy.
It's been a very peaceful relationship thus far. Clearly, it's Paul's fault that Bobby Knighthead got crushed in.
Yeah.
I don't believe it was a sign from
See,
Jeff at all.
I don't think you're going to like this statement, but if Jeff wanted to be a Danette, he could easily get it down to 4 by killing one of the existing Danettes.
Right.
Easily.
It's true.
Good.
Or
Well,
somebody
5th
who thinks
Danette
they're
or
Jeff in a
not,
psychotic fit.
Jeff has had no problem making himself known over the years.
It's playing itself.
Dude,
War games.
I am never, ever, ever spending the night in the man cave again.
You ever see any weird stuff around here, man? I swear there's somebody driving a simulator right now.
What's that noise? In the bathroom. Are you running the water in the bathroom?
G off.
Why is the water running in the bath? In the shower?
Oh my God.
Oh my God, what's happening here? I've slept here before, and it's creepy as hell. Oh man, this is stuff that happened on camera. That doesn't forget about all the other stuff with doors opening and whatnot.
One of my favorite stories of all time, I know we've told it on the box scores, when Paulie came to sleep over at a snowstorm
Seen it,
and ran into you in the back room. Just one of you guys had
Standing there in my boxers.
Yeah.
Like
He was like in a karate stance right now.
yeah.
to have a camera on that moment might have been my one thing I would want to do.
It was very awkward because I was walking in this door right here, and you got to go all the way around, and I could hear the TV on, but it was pretty late. It was after midnight, I think, and Seaton, I assumed, was in there sleeping. And I was like, I'm going to be real quiet because I don't want to wake him up, but I want to make sure it's him because I want to use that couch. And I opened the door.
Hey, Seaton, who's scarier, Jeff the ghost or the cameraman you call Wild Bill?
Well, man, this is unfortunate. There's no real proof that Jeff is around.
There's no real proof that Wild Bill killed
There's
Jeff
no paperwork
either.
on Bill either.
Yeah, but he's standing right there in front of us.
Not always, man.
You don't know, that might be Jeff too. Well, Jeff is more scary.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with you. Stay tuned. We're not done getting to the bottom of this. The I-Team West Coast Division has a pair of suspects we're going to bring in for questioning. How are we rounding these guys up? Well, of course. It's the Ram 1500 Eco Diesel. It can tow a boat, climb a hill, and track down the #1 suspect. Plus, it's the most fuel-efficient half-ton truck on the road. Get more facts at ramtrucks.com. Just the facts. Guts, glory, Ram. Welcome back to the box score. The boss clearly in mourning still over the loss of his beloved Bob Knight doll. I mean, our action figure. Now, McLovin, if you would just fess up to this, if the boss would give you a pardon for this crime and any other crimes, would you do that by the end of the day?
If I did it, you mean? But I didn't do it. In fact, I can't think of anything I've done that annoyed Dan more than this breaking.
Oh, God, no.
I've done some bad things, but nothing.
This is the most.
You're probably the least bad doing person I know.
I don't like to get in trouble. I'm very afraid of the authorities.
You've never gotten a call in.
I never got. You know, I went through my entire academic career with never getting detention in school.
That's so lame, dude.
My senior year had more detentions than Dan.
How did you find out where all the parties were?
Yeah.
Wait, by the way, Todd hasn't really gotten in much trouble, except for the bar mitzvah videos and stuff like that.
But in school, the only time I got in trouble was I was the student organization president, and
library book was late.
Someone started a walkout, and the principal pulled me out of the auditorium and thought that I initiated, because I was the head of this of the group, that I would have started this walkout, which I would never do in a million years. I was one of these students, you know, extra credit book reports and everything. That kind of freaked me out.
What about when you stole candy and your dad made you give it back?
You made that statement about stealing candy from charging
that.
people less at the.
You actually have a long history. Petty theft. You stole the candy. You stole the plate.
What about when you lied? When you lied to the cops about your son being sick? You
stole Rangers tickets.
You probably knocked over Bobby Knight.
You're right up until this week.
Yeah, you probably knocked over Bobby Knight.
You probably stole that shirt.
I was just what I thought I was Mr. Ernest. You guys just rattled off like almost half of it.
Yeah, is that why you couldn't get a shirt that fits? Because you had to rip it off of the shelves without being able to try it on?
The name of your new podcast is called Petty Theft.
Stick with extra larges.
Yeah, you think so? I thought I was ready for large.
I wear extra larges.
Oh, yeah.
Fritzi's 10 pounds heavier than me.
Hey, Fritzi, we all know that Dan destroyed your bobblehead. Is this some sort of retribution on your part to make good on his destruction of your poor little doll there?
No, I don't want to look at things like karma or stuff like that. You know, I was disappointed briefly, but because it's very rare for anyone to have a bobblehead made after that.
What if you had reacted to that the way Dan reacted this morning? What would he have said to you?
He would have said, stop whining, don't be a baby, grow up and get back.
That's exactly right.
But I think it's tough to compare the two, because that special, unique Bobby Knight item is, to me anyway, that to me is a much bigger deal than that little...
How many Todd Fritz bobbleheads are there in the world?
Yeah, but it was just
currently in circulation.
Doesn't matter the size of it.
I know, but it just looked like a little thing that, it was nice that it was.
Do you
nice
have other
for me
bobbleheads of yourself?
No, I'm saying it was nice for me that it represented me, and I don't have other. And that's why I was upset for a little while. But compared to that to me looks like some kind of major collector's item.
Why? It's not him. It's Bobby Knight.
I don't know. It's just something you would think you would see at one of those auction shows where it's like, what is this worth $10? And then they would tell you, no, this is a.
When did that Bobby Knight thing come into the man cave?
A good 2 years ago, at least.
At least, maybe longer.
I'd be shocked if a Bobby Knight doll ever showed up on an Antiques Roadshow. All right, coming up, we're going to help the boss find a new location for the man cave. But first, a solemn goodbye to little Bobby Knight.
Yeah.
Wow. Yep. I'm bringing a friend.
Is that
Mini Bob's. Wow. Oh. Can he throw a chair?
Yeah, is there a little mini chair that comes with that?
You've seen those, like Chucky dolls?
Yeah.
Oh. That's what that is right there. Bob Knight has boxers on scene.
He does.
Yeah.
Checkerboard.
Yeah. That is awesome.
Oh.
We are back here on the box score. Yesterday we got on the topic of relocating the Dan Patrick Show. Dan says he wants to stay in Milford, and after the vote, that looks like where they're going to stay. But we asked the guys if they had their druthers, where would they relocate the show? It's time to play another edition of...
Know Your Road!
Where would you like to relocate the Dan Patrick Show? Let's start with the front row. Paulie, where does Seton want to move the man cave to?
Brock, just to clarify, he has one choice with his answer. Is that correct?
Correct.
Boston, Massachusetts.
Was it Boston, Massachusetts?
If I was thinking like Fantasyland, I would say like Barcelona or something like that. But if I'm gonna think real life, Los Angeles. I'd want to go to Los Angeles.
Wow. That was my first guess. My first guess in my head was Los Angeles, but then I also thought Seton may pump the brakes and say, like, you know what? He does like Boston a lot, and it's more family friendly. But I guess LA is, you only have one chance in your life to move
It's a
there.
good guess because there really are.
Boston's probably number 2.
Absolutely. There's only 3 cities really that I even want to live in: New York, Boston, and LA. Probably reverse that order.
Yeah.
So you were definitely on the right track. There's no doubt about that.
Barcelona too. We get a lot of bullfighters in studio.
A lot of bullfighters.
Not in Barcelona.
Oh.
Not in Barcelona. They're not down with the bullfighting.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, then I guess Barcelona's out.
Maybe a little soccer though. A little footy.
Super.
Go to Boston in the springtime. Let's go to the back row. Fritzy, where's McLovin's ideal man cave location?
I was thinking Philadelphia, but I'm going to say somewhere like around Williamsburg, Brooklyn, some type of hipster area where he'd have a much shorter commute after having to deal with this schlep that he does from New York to Connecticut. Something in his neighborhood so he can almost walk or take one of those rental bikes.
He doesn't live in Williamsburg, but that's a good guess.
Yes, was it a short distance from McLovin's place? Brooklyn.
Brooklyn, New York. I think it'd be really cool to get back to the urban roots that we all come from, and it happens to be close to my house.
Bravo.
Brooklyn, that's
pretty
all.
much nailed that.
What would you sing if we went back?
No sleep till Brooklyn. No sleep till Brooklyn. Where Brooklyn at? Where Brooklyn at? I'm with you, man. Brooklyn would be great. It's
the remix.
A little two for there. A little 2 for Tuesday.
Very hip. 2 for Tuesday. All right, back to the front row. Seton, where would Paulie want to move the man cave to?
Good luck, because I don't remember what I guessed.
Yeah. I'm going to say that Paul would move the show to London.
Oh, wow. Is it London?
London, England.
Wow. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Nice job.
Huh? Boom. Look at this.
Wow. Good guess.
Now, I thought that maybe, you might have zigged when I thought you were going to zag there and you would say, like, Chicago so you could go home or something. But I felt like Paulie, he's thinking of pubs, soccer.
The show would start at 3 in the afternoon.
Oh, I like
it's got
that.
to be London.
I like
It's got to
that.
be London.
Well, it would be a long commute for this man. And for the win, McLovin, Fritzy's top relocation place.
Okay. I'm thinking there's a certain kind of film that Fritzy's a fan of that films in a certain part of the country. I don't know if it's a Rancho Cucamonga or the Chatsworth area.
Cucamonga.
I'm going to say the Valley, California, be with his peeps.
Was it the Valley, for sure?
And some nice people.
I would relocate the man cave to Marina del Rey, California, because I used to live there with my lovely wife, and we have some great memories there. And right there by the boats, very relaxing. The weather's great there every day, and I think we'd be very happy in Marina del Rey, California.
And by the
See how the dichotomy
this is so specific for the purposes of Know Your Row. The point is to make something.
I think if you said like Los Angeles, we would have counted that.
Okay.
If you said Los Angeles.
But the Valley is nowhere close to
Valley
Marina
is
del Rey.
definitely not.
Now,
Right.
there is a situation here, Fritzy. You said your dream to move the show to any place would be Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And we voted on this yesterday. You voted to not move the show.
Yeah, I
to
guess
Los
I had a
Angeles.
change of heart since.
But do you know what you want?
I'm not sure. I think I'm gonna go somewhere in the middle of the country, maybe like
Kansas.
Kansas.
Yeah,
or
Lawrence,
something.
Kansas.
Yeah.
Chicago.
If you were going to go from Marina del Rey to the Valley, how would you go?
You would probably get on the
Sepulveda.
405 to the 101, the Hollywood Freeway.
Yeah.
Right
and
back
then
to all your old haunts.
You're gonna get off by around Sherman Oaks, Woodland Hills, and then you're heading towards Santa Clarita Valley.
What if you want to take La Cienega over to Lincoln?
You could do
up
that.
Pico?
You could take Olympic
Pico is
Pico.
always.
You could take the 22,
You're always
the Garden
crossing
Grove,
us
the
here.
22.
All right, I
the
interrupt
canyon over
this
the top.
edition of the
Freeway,
Californians
110
to announce that the back row has won by a half a point, awarded by the producer, so congratulations.
Yes!
Oh, what are you doing here?
We never win.
Don't go away. We're going to give you 5 good seconds of soccer. How about 5 good seconds with the Ram Heavy Duty? That's right, with its best-in-class towing, torque, and horsepower. It doesn't need a break. It'll take those 5 seconds and run with them all the way over to London, where they're going to host a show next week. Stay tuned for that. Guts, Glory, Ram. Welcome back to Box Score. The hammer was dropped on FIFA yesterday with officials being arrested on charges of corruption. Now, Paulie, I know as a producer you love the story, but as a fan, are you glad that all this corruption has been exposed and hope to get this all fixed now?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know if it makes a big difference long term. That it's like they'll just find another way to be corrupt. Back to you.
Thanks, sir. Well, another bombshell dropped in the man cave today. Paul, you have secured 2 tickets to Game 7, Rangers and Lightning. Now, Fritzi, you are out of the equation as of today. Now, if you were to give those tickets to 2 other Danettes, who will they be? I'll hang up and listen.
Great question, Brock.
Wow.
Great question.
I would give them both to Seton, and then just as Dan kind of, took the easy way.
No.
Dan did the
That's
same
not
thing. He goes, I'll give 2 tickets to whoever pulls their name out of the hat, and they can decide who they're going to go with. That's what Dan said.
So, all right, let's ask another question. If you had to pick 2 of the 3 of us to give the tickets to, who would you give them to?
I would say, because I'm not sure which one of you is a bigger hockey fan. That's what I would go by. I think you may appreciate it more. I know even though you're closer, it would be more convenient for you. So the first one would definitely go to Seton because he's only been to 1 hockey game and he hasn't been to 1 at the Garden yet. So that's easy. Then in between the 2 of you, I would lean towards Paulie only because I think that he may enjoy it more. But I have nothing really to base it on that. I don't think either one is a huge hockey fan.
I think, Fritzi might be sort of right. I think that you guys probably watch a little more hockey than you, but I have to tell you, I'm jumped on the bandwagon lately. Yeah. Because having a New York team has gotten me into it. And I think this Friday night, this might be totally, I think you want to be seen at this event. I think it's going to be historic. Rangers Game 7.
I think tomorrow's going to be quite a tense day because when one of us picks this out, between the 3 of us, we have to pick another to go to the game with. And you have to pick who will I have a better time with compared to who will be better on air for this topic to who I pick, or who will be more upset long term, which could be a good thing or a bad thing. There's a lot of layers with who you pick.
That is a lot.
Fritzi, would you take the cleaning woman with you to the game?
Sure, I think she's more of a soccer fan. I don't know how much hockey she watches, but she's always very, very nice and sweet and smiles and is always in great spirits. We've had a number of chats. I do my little interviews that I like to do with people, and I think she'd have a good time. And I don't know if my wife would appreciate that because I think my wife would rather go with me. But someone's got to watch the kids. If we can't get a babysitter, then I guess the 2 of us would have to go.
Okay, Fritzi, who's on tomorrow?
Tomorrow, Scott Rabb, Esquire, contributing writer, also wrote the book, can I say Whore? The Whore of Akron.
The title.
He's famous, that's right. He's the famous author of The Whore of Akron, about his relationship with LeBron James over the years. He'll weigh in on Cleveland moving on to the NBA Finals and 4 wins from bringing a long-lost title to the city of Cleveland. That's what we've got so far, and the efforting.
That's a long setup for Scott Rabb.
It really is. If I'd had 3 or 4 guests, I would have been a lot tighter, but I'm feeling a little time.
Maybe have the cleaning woman on tomorrow. All right, thank you, gentlemen. We are back tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern right here on Audience Channel 239. The podcast, of course, is available on iTunes or at podcast1.com. Cheers.
I don't know a lot about sports, but I can drink a lot of beer.
My motto is simple. C's get degrees.
Need a long, inappropriate hug? I'm your man.
I think I'm smarter than you, because I probably am.
Hey, thanks for watching the Box Score. Holy cow!